Hello guys, my name is Tatiana. I'm Oscar's wife, and today I'm gonna start a big project that I've been delaying for some time, for him mostly, but hopefully I can play a bit of Warhammer with him and use it. I'm gonna do a dice tower. So I'm gonna use a Pringles can, and I'm gonna use these crossed inside to make the dice rattle a bit, and then I'm gonna use some cardboard to make a ramp. And I'm starting with cutting some of these cardboards that came with something that we ordered, like to recycle, to make the tiles. Usually I try to recycle as much as possible, and you will see me use some weird stuff to make some crafts, because I really don't like to waste. And I like when things have a new life. So I'm gonna start this project today. I'm gonna continue. It's not going to be finished today, obviously, but we'll see how it goes. So I started by cutting a hole to make the exit of the dice, and I used a rug knife, and then I cut some holes to put the picks or the sticks through so that the dice rattle. I only used one, so I measured afterwards to cut so that we were not ruining 3 of them. I then used the other sticks for other stuff. These are like the ones you use for food sticks. I don't remember the name. So I used hot glue to secure it. I love hot glue. I just picked up an old cardboard box to make the ramp so that the dice would go down, and I hot glued it. I'm a big fan of hot glue, as you can see. Here I am gluing all the tiles that I had previously cut. I chose to, like, the more rugged side I'm choosing to put up so that they kind of look like stones. I really like the effect of this cardboard in particular. That's why you still see a big piece there that I'm saving for other projects and other stuff. I've used it to make a path as well in other crafts. So this was a long way to go to glue all of them. Every now and then I had to cut to make them fit together. And I learned that in this project that it's probably a good idea to paint the can first before gluing. So learn that. I then cut an entry to the dice. So you know the Pringles can is completely open without the lid. So I cut cardboard and then a little opening so that the dice go one at a time. I then went to go back and got air dry clay to make an entrance so that it all looks together. And I used the rug knife to make it look like tiles as well, like stones. And I used a bit of the cardboard to imprint as well the same texture as kind of the same stone feeling that the cardboard itself gives. So I wanted to look like similar. I also used air dry clay to make the top. You can see the type that I used there. Very simple, as you can see. I used everything that I have at hand. I didn't bother to go get a ruler. I glued gun the entrance with cardboard, and then I cut with the rug knife always some textures to look like they were stones, tiles. I measured, I cut some around it, and then I did the texture. I used water to soften the edges so that they don't look like all rugged from being cut. And then I used a bit of water to also kind of glue it together. In the end, I secured it with more hot glue because you can't get enough of hot glue. I let it to dry hanging a bit, so not the air dry clay not touching the ground, so they wouldn't ruin. And I also used the same material to make a little window, which I came up with later. Otherwise I wouldn't glue some tiles in that area. I put a bit of cardboard. If you can see, it's from an old like label from clothes, and then I glued the whole thing there. I also did a bit of a tree with hair dry clay. That's the good thing about this clay that it's so versatile that you can do whatever you want. And then I secured it there and let the whole thing dry for some time. If they are thick things, they might have to dry overnight. And then I just got a little bit more cardboard to make the base, and I wanted to make kind of a tiny heel base, so I cut 3 pieces of cardboard, a larger one and then 2 smaller ones to make kind of a 3 steps part. I glued them all together. As you can see, all of it is recycled, and then I marked the place where the tower would fit, and with the rug knife I cut that little hole. Hot glue gun everything, and then for a while I struggled what material would I use to make the walls around it so that the dice would stay in the tower, or rather in the area. And then I opted by more cardboard. That piece of cardboard in particular came inside of a boot that I bought for winter time. So it had already kind of a folded shape, which was good. And I secured it with hot glue gun, and then I just cut it to shape and glued a bunch of tiles. These had to be cut to fit most of it. This was probably the most boring task, because I wanted it to be sturdy, which was already, because this cardboard is kind of thick, but not thick as the one that breaks. But I wanted tiles inside and out because you were gonna see it. Then I spray painted the whole thing with a primer. And here I'm starting to do the snow, because since Oscar has a mat that is snowy, I wanted to create the snow effect. And the truth is, I know he has a snow really thing for his games, but I wanted to use recycling and nature elements, so I used sand. And then I did a bunch of paint with dark color to create some mood. And then here I am doing some lighting in the window so that it looks that there's a candle inside. And I painted the tree brown. This is actually an old thing for the birthday cakes, you know, those decorations. So I just cut out a few leaves and hot glued them there. And as you can see, I put some sand in the different areas there, and I painted all the green as like grass, dark grass. And then I painted all the sand parts. I secured the sand with glue, and then I painted it white. It was actually a wrong kind of paint because it was a textile paint, but that was the only white I had, so that worked. And to finish, I just dry brushed the whole thing to look frosty and kind of more realistic. So here it is. I hope you like to see the process. The materials I used, and I'm gonna try not to forget any bit, but it was a Pringles can, as you saw in the beginning, lots of cardboard, glue, hot glue gun, also white glue to make the sand stick, sand, paints, a lot of paints, scissors, a pen, paintbrush obviously, and I used a little bit of foam to put on top of the little ramp so that the dice would go smoothly. And I think I'm not forgetting, the little cake decoration to make the plant. It was mostly things that I either had lying around or that would eventually go to recycling. So like I really believe in giving it a second life and using it. These parts were made with dry clay, air dry clay, as you saw. And that was it. We're gonna test it for the first time, and I'm gonna let Oscar do the honors to see if it works.
So let's see. We're planning to use this for Star Wars Legion, but I'm also gonna try it with some Dungeons and Dragons dice that we'll be using as well. Yeah, There you go. Works fine. Let's do some Star Wars Legion dice as well.
So we got a 12 and a 10.
Yep. Perfect.
You're happy with it?
Yeah. And also it's nice because it's kind of big, so we can use it in the middle of the table and it will actually be blocking line of sight while we play. So that's good.
You can even put some models up here.
Yeah, can even do that.
So I hope you liked it. If you have any questions regarding everything, the process, the materials, just go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me what you think generally. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.